Hello, my name is Leo. Today we're going to talk about quadratic function and quadratic equation. Quadratic function is polynomial function of second degree. And this graph is curve, parabola, as we can see in this xy coordinate system, where we have this simple example of quadratic function f of x is x squared. And quadratic function has this general form of f of x is a times x squared plus bx plus c, where a, b and c are all real coefficients. Quadratic equation is second order polynomial equation with only one single variable, which is here variable x. And it has similar expression as quadratic function, but instead of f of x, here is equal to 0. And in this example we have y is equal to minus x squared plus 1. Here we have a formula with which we solve quadratic equation. Factored form is form of quadratic equation which includes this x1 and x2, which are solutions of quadratic equation and can be complex or real numbers. Null points are points in xy coordinate plane whose x coordinate is equal to solutions of quadratic equation and with y coordinate equal to 0. For example, n1 and n2 are dead null points where graph, so parabola, of quadratic function intersects x-axis. So where that parabola intersects x-axis, we have for that 2 points called null points, these two x coordinates x1 and x2, and they both lie on x-axis, so their y coordinate is equal to 0. The last two formulas are formulas called Vieta's formulas, which combine x1 and x2, so both solutions of quadratic equation. Number of solutions, also called roots of quadratic equation, is determined by discriminant, which is marked with big D, and it is b squared minus 4ac. And in the last slide we could see that this discriminant is part of expression for solving a quadratic equation, for solving solutions of a quadratic equation under that root. And we have three basic cases of discriminant. First case, when discriminant is greater than 0, then graph of parabola of quadratic function intersects x-axis at 2 points, as we can see in the picture, and that 2 points are the quadratic equation null points. So that 2 points are also, their x-coordinates are two real solutions of a quadratic equation. The second case, when discriminant is equal to 0, in this case parabola only touches x-axis, and in that one point is actually one double real solution of quadratic equation. Quadratic equation in this case has two solutions, but they are both equal. And in the last case, when discriminant is smaller than 0, then graph of quadratic function does not intersect and also does not touch x-axis, so there are no real solutions. Solutions of quadratic equation in this case are both complex numbers. Extreme value or vertex is extreme value which quadratic function has. And for this we have two examples and two cases. In the first case, when a coefficient is greater than 0, and we can see that example on the left hand side, we have parabola in form like this, and then point V, so vertex of quadratic equation, is the bottom, we could say the bottom of this parabola. And in the second case, where a is smaller than 0, then parabola has this form and vertex is then at the top of this parabola. And in this expression for V, point of vertex, we have its x and y coordinates expressions, where x is equal to minus b over 2a is also axis of symmetry of this parabola. So it is a straight line which goes exactly through the vertex of quadratic equation line, so of parabola. It halves a parabola into two parts, left and right. Canonical or vertex form of quadratic equation is form which includes vertex point with its coordinates x0 and y0. And we have this first formula, and if we put that expressions for x0 and y0, so for coordinates of vertex point we've seen on the last slide, we get this second formula. And there are 6 possible combinations of a coefficients and discriminant d. We'll only show for this first row when a is greater than 0, and in this first case when discriminant is greater than 0, parabola intersects x-axis in 2 points. When d is equal to 0, only touches x-axis at 1 point, and when d is smaller than 0, then graph, so parabola, does not either intersect or touch x-axis. In the second case, when a is smaller than 0, we have parabola like this one, and these all cases are dissimilar cases as for parabola like this one. Now you've learned about quadratic function and quadratic equation. Thanks for watching and stay with us.